Bonjour, new moons. Before we get into today's pre-recorded episode, I just want to again thank you for hanging in there with me. Lua Nova moved too. So this has been a giant change in my life and Eric's life too. But also, we're just, if you've ever been surrounded by moving boxes, etc., it messes with your nervous system. It's hard to not feel completely out of whack. That is how I'm feeling. That is how Lua Nova as the brand is feeling. And there's a lot of moving. And I'm just going to say that I'm always going to speak up for myself, and that I'm going to make something really clear when it comes to who listens to my show. As far as I know, you're all human. Now, if that goes beyond and you decide that you want to listen to my show nonstop, there's nothing wrong with that. I actually appreciate you. I'm sure the Lua Nova team does as well. However, I'm going to make something really blunt and clear. I am not a Drake, a Taylor Swift, or Bad Bunny, any of the above. I have never bought streams. I don't need to, as you can see. And I'm making this very clear as to who this is for. This is for Spreaker. As you can see, my show has grown organically. Now, just because you're not aware, because you don't know the first thing about manifestation and you never met a real witch, I don't know what to tell you. But I am very much so the real deal. And so I will not back down simply because, well, there's just, how does this podcast, how did it manage to grow the way that it has? Because I'm me. Because I speak up when other people don't. Because I'm not afraid to. And because unlike other people, I own this brand. I recently I was listening to a YouTube video. I like to listen to YouTube videos when I get ready. And there's a YouTuber by the name of Armand Wiggins. And he said the same thing. That this is his platform. And so he doesn't worry about, well, somebody just coming to snatch it because it's his platform. And the same goes for me. And so I will always move Lua Nova until I don't have to, because I'm going to make something really clear. One, it was time for me to move from a free server. My podcast is too big for free servers. And they thought that they were going to scam me out of my money, and that wasn't going to happen. That wasn't going to happen. I'm like, I want you all to understand, even if I wasn't a witch, that one thing that I've always been great at is knowing about the law, because that's originally what I was going to go into. It's why I'm so invested in learning about criminal law, etc. All right. And it's why I follow certain cases, the Diddy case, this very unfortunate story of this R&B singer, David, and the young girl that was found in his trunk. Rest in peace to Celeste. I follow not just true crime cases, but cases in general. And so because that was an area I was going to go into, I've worked for a law firm. I got to be careful about what I say, but my mother works for a law firm now. I'm not going to go more into that, but she always has. But I just know what I'm talking about, and I always do my research. And even if you don't know how to do your research, new moons, I'm going to advise that you use search engines. And that is when you use AI. That is when you ask the basic questions, at least, so that you do know at least the basics, and that's all I'm going to say beyond that. I'm not going to bring this up again. I won't be talking about this on Patreon, because I know that me and my platform did nothing wrong. If you don't agree with something that I said, that's perfectly fine. We're not always going to agree. If you don't like that I speak up for myself when it comes to my money that I earned, then you're right. I'm definitely not the person that should be on your platform, because I don't want my brand associated with people that are meek and scared to speak up for themselves. I teach my listeners to speak up for themselves, to watch out for themselves, to protect themselves. And so when I said protect your energy, sometimes that even includes your own brand. Okay. So in fact, it always includes your own brand. So as I'm surrounded right now, and I'm feeling very overwhelmed by everything that I need to put away, I had to stop just to make sure that you all heard this intro. Now, my apologies. It's a lot of noise going on in the back because I'm near one of the vents, and the sound quality will get better. I'm working on it now. And I already said I'm not recording until we work on the volume level once I get my microphone ready to go. It's already plugged in, guys. I'm so ready to just get back to work. And so I might make this the last pre-recorded episode. It kind of depends. Another pre-recorded episode, it looks like there's an issue with the file. So I might have to re-record that all together, which works out because then I can't pre-record that. But thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for all of the birthday wishes. Shout out to Libras. It is now your season, and I have a Libra stellium in my birth chart, so I could celebrate, but I already had my Virgo season, and next Virgo season, I will be in the middle of another big move. So I hope this is going to be the last Virgo season where I have to keep making giant moves. and I mean this physically giant moves. I don't mean, I'm always going to make big moves when it comes to the brand, me, you, etc. I got to get back to my clients. I know a lot of you are waiting to hear back from me. Thank you to my team for holding it down for me. Thank you to the Lua Nova team for all that you do. Thank you to the Lua Nova listeners. Let's get into today's episode. This episode had to be moved up. So if it sounds a little bit off, regarding anything that I'm talking about, because it was meant to be played at the beginning of October. And I think I had to shift it and move it to this Monday. I really don't know, guys. I'm all over the place. I don't even know if I'm making any sense right now. But this episode was supposed to air after the episode that was corrupted. If I can retrieve that corrupted MP3, I will, because I really would love for you to hear the original. If not, I'm just going to re-record the whole thing for you another day. All right. But I'm just going to let you know now, I don't teach manifestation techniques, but I did have one that I thought you all would like. And it was fun to do. I've done it before. And I thought, well, why don't I teach it to my new moons while I'm in the middle of moving? And so I do plan to redo that episode if I'm not able to retrieve that file. Okay. But I've talked for 6 minutes. I know you all don't mind. You're probably in the middle of, brushing your teeth, or you're at your desk pretending to type right now. I used to do it all the time. Just move your mouse a little bit. All right, new moons. Let's get into today's episode. And I hope that you all are being safe and protecting your energy. Bonjour, new moons. I am Josie the Mustang, the afro-latina, Regina George of witches, and you're aligned with the frequency of the Lua Nova podcast. And in today's episode, this is pre-recorded, so this I hope will be the last of the pre-recorded episodes. But as I've mentioned many times before, Eric and I are still in the middle of a very big move, and so by the time you're hearing this, I am likely unpacking and putting things away, and this is a big step for us. We are manifesting big, and when you manifest big, a lot of things in the universe start happening quickly. I'm a great manifester. Like many of you, I've overcome an immense amount of trauma, and we shouldn't have had to, but we learned how to alchemize it. And something I want to share with you in today's episode are 2 journal entries that I wrote about you. I wrote these 2 entries to all of my listeners. And so keep in mind that I'm not a writer, and give me a little bit of grace. I know that they're not going to be perfect, but I hope that I can make somebody feel heard. I many times didn't feel heard, felt overlooked, and of course it did make me stronger. But it's always bothered me that we have to overcome so much in order to be stronger, quote unquote stronger. And there are times that you still don't feel heard, or that people just don't really get it. And so one of these entries references that. The other entry is based on this idea of being told that you have to quote unquote hustle, that you have to quote unquote be obedient to what is called God. We're not here to be obedient. We're here to be aligned. So I wrote that entry based on that. I talk a lot about journaling. I think journaling is something that helps us work through our thoughts, that helps us with our mental health, and I recommend it to everybody. Now, you choose how you journal, if that's taking notes in your phone or writing things down. I can tell you from a witch that when we write things down, it makes things happen. It is something that I've heard many people who are also outstanding at manifesting reference. I'm going to give you the example of T.S. Madison. She oftentimes references a Bible verse, Habakkuk, and I think it's Habakkuk 4:4, which talks about writing it down and making it plain. Now, I reference the Bible here and there. As you know, I'm very anti-Christian. Now, I am not anti-Christians. There are people who are Christian who are great people, I've given the example of Kev on Stage. Kev on Stage is a Christian, and I think that he, as far as I know, I don't know him personally, seems like a really outstanding human being. But when it comes to the religion itself, I am very anti-Christian, and anti-religion in general. And I teach you to think for yourself. I want you to think for yourself. And so, as I mentioned, one of these journal entries mentions this. And so I will stop rambling at the moment and ask that if you are a new listener to do me a favor and go to luanovapodcast.net and make sure that you read the entire disclaimer. Because as I always say, and I will be saying for the next few years, this is an anti-Donald Trump podcast. If you have ever supported Donald Trump in any way, shape, or form, I don't care if you are not a United States citizen. In fact, that actually makes it worse. I don't want you here. You will never be welcome here. And if you ever, because I have been actually asked this, would I ever accept a client that was a Trump supporter? You better keep it to yourself, because no, if I find out, I'm definitely refunding you, because when it comes to manifesting money, I'm great at doing that. I don't need your money. No thanks. The universe always provides, and so it is. So, new moons, let me pull up these entries. And one of them I had to email to myself, so it might be all over the place because I had to type out what I wrote. So I hope it sounds great. One sec. To book a personal tarot reading with me, submit your question for the 6th House Virgo segment, or read the full disclaimer, which includes spiritual consent and listener responsibility, visit the official Luanova website, which is luanovapodcast.net. To become a Patreon member, download the Patreon app or visit patreon.com/the Luanova podcast. For those of you who said that you really enjoy the collective readings, or you just want to support Luanova, you can do so directly via Venmo or Cash App. The Venmo username is @Luanova. The Cash App username is $Luanova podcast. And I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. Obrigada. So neither of these entries has a title, by the way, but the first entry is as follows. New moons, I want to take a moment to talk to you directly, and anybody who might feel like nobody actually hears you. Maybe you've been dismissed. Maybe you've been laughed at when you dare to dream a little bit bigger than the average, because you're not average. Maybe people even told you to just get over what you are feeling, or that what you are feeling just isn't that serious. Maybe even like me, you've been through things that left you screaming inside because the people around you didn't see you, they didn't hear you, and they didn't take what you went through seriously. And so I want you to know that I hear you, and that I see you, and that you have never been alone, because I believe that I was always meant to be there for my listeners. The truth is, the world is full of people who carry limiting beliefs. People who can't even begin to imagine for themselves, so they laugh at those who do. People who believe that you have to grind yourself into the ground to earn a little bit of happiness. People who don't even understand that grief isn't something that you just get over. It's something that you carry, and it does shape who you are. I also need you to hear this as well. Their beliefs don't belong to you. Their limits don't define you. If you have a vision in your heart, it's not there by accident, and it never has been. If you have a dream that feels just too big for other people, it's because it was meant for you. And just because someone else can't see it doesn't mean that it's not real. And if you are grieving, whether it's a person, a pet, or even a version of you that no longer exists, I want you to know that you're allowed to feel that. You're allowed to grieve, and nobody gets to tell you otherwise. The love that you felt for maybe the past version of you, or the lost loved one, it doesn't just disappear because the world is telling you that it's replaceable. It's not replaceable. They're not replaceable. You're not replaceable. You're allowed to carry that love and that grief so long as you alchemize it and you keep moving forward. You're allowed to have the memories, the ashes, and those happy moments that you look back on, and know that that bond, and even know that that past version of you, it does exist. Nothing and no one gets to take that from you. So I want you to breathe this in. You are heard. You are seen. Your dreams are valid. Your grief is valid. Your joy is valid. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. You don't have to shrink yourself because somebody else just doesn't get it. That's not your problem. You don't have to keep living under the weight of what other people believe. You get to choose how you believe. You get to expand, and you get to manifest the life that feels good to you. And there's something that I want to say as well. You weren't put here just to suffer. That's a promise. You were put here to live. You were put here to love. You were put here to create, to expand, and most of all, to experience joy. And I don't ever want you to apologize. I put ellipses there for believing in that. I hope that you always hold on to your vision. I hope that I make you feel like now you do have a voice. And even those of you who are like me and you very much so know that you have a voice, use it for the people who feel like they don't. And when you feel unheard, just know that I heard you and that I appreciate you hearing me. And so I want you to take something with you that you can say to yourself. I am the alchemist of my own life. I have turned my pain into power. My grief is pure love, and my dreams are a reality. Not only am I seen, I am heard. I am limitless. Today I choose my vision, my joy, and my truth, and so it is. I hope that was okay. I'm not going to share the writing itself because it wasn't written form, and honestly how I type this is insane. So this will not be on Patreon or anything like that. It's going to just be something I wanted to share with you all, since this is a pre-recorded episode and I needed to get this to you. I wasn't sure if I would ever share any of these or if I was just going to write it out. And maybe one day if I ever write a book, I will include it in there. Okay. So the next entry that I wrote, give me a second because it's kind of long. And it might even sound like I'm reiterating a lot of what I just said because they were written within a week of each other. Okay. This one says new moons at the top as well. I want to tell you today is something that you may have forgotten, that you weren't born to struggle. You're not born to just hustle until your body breaks down. You're not just here until your spirit grows tired and until you can no longer recognize yourself in the mirror. You came into this world with peace already written into your soul contract. But something along the way, or somebody or society told you that peace had to be earned. That your joy was something reserved for only celebrities or billionaires or just a chosen few. What they told you was that you had to work harder, or that maybe if you had prayed harder, or that maybe if you had sacrificed more of yourself, or if you had done this, or if you have done that, then maybe you might deserve happiness. And I want to tell you that that is just a bold-faced lie. Source, the energy that has created you, does not demand obedience. Source is not keeping you on some imaginary leash and telling you that if you follow these orders, this is how you will become happy. No, that's not true. Source gave you something far greater: free will, power, and the divine right to live as if, to live fully and to be happy. And so I want to say this for anybody who doesn't understand this. You're not here to quote unquote obey. You're here to be aligned. Aligning with joy, aligning with your financial abundance, with your happiness of abundance, with abundance. And to align with the truth of who you actually are, not who people tell you you have to be. You're here to learn. You're here to expand. You're here to experience the beauty of your life and to know joy while you're still here on this earth. There's a system that we all live in that was built to keep you tired, distracted, and to keep you thinking that the only way that you will ever have any peace is when the work is done, when you have earned it, when you have proven yourself after working yourself to the bone. But Source already approved you. That's how you got here. The moment that you arrived here, you were already approved of. You don't have to earn what was already given to you. And so, here's another truth. We're always manifesting, even when we don't know it. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every vision that you have ever held in your mind, it shapes who you are. It shapes your own reality. And so some of you keep planning these out. What is it? Comma there. There should have been a comma there, Josie. Some of you're planting these seeds of doubt, these seeds of fear, these seeds of lacking. And a few of you might even wonder, why does this harvest look the way it does? But then there's the other ones. And you're starting to plant what your seeds are. Your seeds are joy. Your seeds are financial abundance, happiness, faith, romance. And when you do that, the universe has no choice but to bring it back to you. Alignment, not hustling. That is what moves mountains. That is what makes the oceans have tides, etc. And yes, that's how I wrote that. Because when you align with Source, when you align with your spirit guides and your ancestors, and you decide, I'm aligning with joy, I'm aligning with my highest self, you no longer chase anything. Now it is connected with you. The struggle can teach you, yes. Pain shapes us, absolutely. But it was never meant to be what defines you. You are not the sum of just your pain. You're not your trauma. You are not just your scars. You are so much more. You came into this world with peace, and so I want you to take it back because it was yours to begin with, and nobody gets to take it from you. Snatch it back. Not my eyes watering. I'm asking you to remember that part of you. Remember the source that you came from. Remember that happiness is not something only few get to have. Abundance is not something that is just for certain types of people. It is your birthright, and so it is. And so the moment that you stop believing that you have to quote unquote hustle, that you have to quote unquote work hard, that you have to be obedient, and that you're not worthy, that is the moment. When you let all that bullshit go, that is the moment that the manifestations start to just keep pouring in. Just sit back and watch. Pick your head up. Straighten your back. Speak nothing but life and love and joy over yourself and your loved ones. Because words are spells. Because you're the alchemist of your own life. And because you're aligned. And so that alignment is going to just keep opening doors. It's going to open doors that no hustle, that no quote unquote obedience ever could. And so it is. Okay, I think that's it. Let me make sure I didn't write nothing else. All right, new moons. New moons, you know the vibes. You know that I do not do spiritual work without your consent. So if you're not consenting to having your tarot read, I am perfectly okay with that, and I get you. And I will talk to you soon. If you want to fast forward a little bit and still listen to the text from spirit section of the show, keep in mind that that is also based on you consenting. So, if you don't consent to that either, that's fine. I'll talk to you next week. I hope that you enjoyed my journal entries. They might have sounded all over the place, or maybe even that I repeated myself. But like I said, they weren't perfect. They were just something that I wrote to you. And I wasn't even sure I would ever share it. But honestly, I'm glad I did. Once I got into reading it, I was like, yeah, keep going, keep reading, because somebody might need to hear this. All right, new moons, let's see what your message is this week. Spirit, what is the message that is for my new moon? Spirit, I see you keep messing with that light over there. I see you. There's this light that's in the kitchen that when spirit wants to let itself be known, whether that be my spirit guides, your spirit guides, etc., they will mess with that light in particular. I noticed, and that's okay. I'm fine with that. All right, what is your message for this week? Let me see. All right. Well, look at us. I love that. Okay. You better leave it all behind. That's right. I'll tell you what that card is in just a second. All right, Spirit, let me give one more card, please. You know, I like to do 3 cards when I have the time. Okay. Okay, come on, Spirit, give me one more. Oh, what? Come on. Come on with all this abundance in this reading. I hope that means that somebody really got something out of it, then, out of what I just shared with you then, because this is a great reading when it comes to your financial manifestations. Just from my energy that I'm picking up on immediately. Scorpio, you are front and center. Your energy came in strong right now, as did Leo. I am definitely talking to somebody who is a Leo rising. So starting off with the 8 of Cups. You said, you know what? I'm done. I'm out. I'm not going to keep working myself to the bone. I just heard Josie's journal entry. She just confirmed it. That's all I need to hear. She's a witch, guys. She knows what she's talking about. I'm done. You're not going to keep running me into the ground. You're not going to just keep overlooking me. I found another job. I'm out. That is the vibe I immediately got from this reading when I looked at this 8 of Cups. Is that you are fine with saying, I am withdrawing. This is the law of detachment happening with me knowing that the universe has always got my back, because like attracts like. That's the law of attraction, because the law of assumption teaches us that if I live as if, I'm going to keep matching the vibration of everything that I want, and I will keep receiving it. And so it is. And that is what's happening for you. You are now living in this mindset of, I was always going to do well, and I wasn't 100% sure of it. I used to hold back. I used to feel like, well, if I had this crystal, or if I do this moon ritual, but now I understand that I'm the one that's the alchemist, then I'm the altar. So I could wear, okay, Spirit. Now you're flashing the light. Stop it. That kind of threw me off for a second. But you are the altar. You don't have to wear 100 crystals. As I say this, where I am wearing how many crystal bracelets? 5. You don't. You can. They're great for what they do. But you understand that all of the tools that we use, they are just that. But that you are connected with Source. And that everything that was meant for you is going to happen. 2026 is going to be this year. I heard 11. So there's 11 of you. Is it 11 people that I'm speaking with, Spirit? Or is it the significance of the number 11? 11 times. There will be 11 times. That's what I heard. There will be 11 times that you have to get it right. That's what I hear. There will be 11 times that you have to get it right. Okay, so, all right. Well, all right. And, and because you are willing to walk away from what is no longer working, it leads you to the 10 of Pentacles. Now, when I see Pentacles pop up, and I want to just tell you right now that they popped up back to back, that tells me that that's big earth sign energy. Earth signs to the front, Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus to the front, because we're needed. And even if I am not talking to just the earth signs, because I'm not, I need you to grasp something that us earth signs are great at. We connect well with Source. When it comes to connecting with the earth, that is everything from meditating, connecting with animals, talking to a tree if you want to, connecting with nature in some way. And the reason why I'm advising that is that it will actually end up helping you manifest financially. Now, Josie, you might, what is it? So if I go talk to a tree, I'm going to get money? No, but it's going to put you in alignment. I mean, a tree is money, technically, because that's what it's made out of. So I do want you to connect with nature. When you connect with nature and when you connect with animals, that is connecting with source. Who is source? Source is God. So if you don't believe in God, that's fine. This is not a podcast where I'm like, well, you need to get out if you don't believe in God. You likely believe in some sort of a higher power. Did you hear my dryer just go off? I'm sorry. I thought it was off, guys. I didn't know it was still going. But I need you all to understand. I say that a lot. But it's because there's sometimes people who there's this pushback that you have when it comes to spirituality, even though you are deeply connected with spirituality, even though there's this part of you that is so fascinated with things that have a spiritual nature to them. The reason why you're drawn to people like me, Neville Goddard, Abraham Hicks, other manifestation podcasts, manifestation coaches, EFT tapping teachers, etc., is because you know that there are many of us who know exactly what we're talking about, and you do too. You know that it's not a coincidence. You can keep lying to yourself all you want to, but the whole reason why the 10 of Pentacles popped up in the way that it did, because when I do readings, like I said before, I am not somebody who is erratically shuffling my cards. I actually, when I connect with the tarot deck that I use for clients and for you, I have already connected and put so much energy into it for you. It's not like the deck I use for myself. The deck I use for myself, I hardly ever read for myself. I don't pull a lot of cards for me, but it has a very different energy because it's just my energy. But when it comes to your cards, the reason why I'm so careful with the cards and I shuffle slowly is because I am deeply thinking about how do I connect in a way to give them the message that they need to hear? Source, give me the right message. So if I'm shuffling erratically, that means that's more performative. And so when that card slowly came out, I said, oh, there's some people who need to understand that their financial security and their financial abundance, it's just sitting there. It's just sitting there. I keep imagining this bank full of money. It's just sitting there, and it's almost like, okay, so are we just going to leave it there, or are we going to finally become aligned? Or are we going to finally let go of what's no longer working for us? You're going to keep working for that terrible boss that's overlooking you, even though you're smarter than they are? They don't even know how to write a basic email. Like they could just use AI to do that, and they don't even know how to do that? You mean to tell me that you're just going to stay there and you're going to keep making what, $15 an hour tops, when you should be making quadruple that because of how great you are at your job? I don't care if you are brand new to the workforce. I don't care if you work for yourself. I don't care if you are also a content creator. Stop overlooking your talents. Stop overlooking how hard you had to work or what you had to endure to get where you are. Because now you're at this point of understanding, I never had to work hard. I never had to hustle. I never had to do any of that because I was always going to be great no matter what. That the intelligence that I have is because I chose to be intelligent, because I chose to keep working at my skills, etc. And that's that 10 of Pentacles energy of I've contributed many things to this world, and now it's time for me to get it back. And that's what you're even saying to the universe. You know what? I've done my part, universe. It's your turn. And so that leads to the end of this reading. Confirmation, the King of Pentacles. So when I think of the King of Pentacles, this is the divine masculine side, because the divine feminine side is the Queen of Pentacles. So when it comes to the King of Pentacles, you might think, well, I need to hustle. I need to get to work. Nope. Divine masculine is not all about work. I have to do this. I have to do that. No, it's about making a plan. You remember when I said, write it down? Remember how I just gave you 2 journal entries that I wrote down? And no, they weren't perfect, but they got a point across. That's what I want you to do. That's divine masculine, is here's my plan. Here's my thought process. Here's what I want to do. And here's what I see for myself. Okay. And so that's what I'm seeing here with this King of Pentacles energy, is that leadership quality that the King of Pentacles has of being at the forefront of how you become financially successful, of how you become financially abundant, is because you had a plan. And so that is why I asked the earth signs for their energy to come in, because who is better at planning than a Virgo and a Capricorn? Who is better at telling you the best of the best than a Taurus? So I'm just saying, I'm giving you advice from earth signs. You know, I am a Virgo. So and I noticed that back when I used to, for instance, work in corporate, that the people I worked the best with were Capricorns. Yes, absolutely. Especially, I don't know why, especially male Capricorns. I don't know if it's just because I didn't work with a lot of women that were Capricorns, but I think that just was the case, that there weren't that many. But I noticed that when it was time to get things done, we were always the ones that made sure that everything was the way we wanted it, that everything was planned out, that everything was double checked. And when I would work with Taurus, they would go about it in a way where it was like, yeah, here's what you two, you Virgo and Capricorn, what you came up with was great. And here's my extra flair to it to make it even better. And so that's why I called in that earth sign energy, is that earth sign energy of us being able to connect with the universe and the earth that we are on right now. It helps us stay aligned. It helps us understand that plan, that vision board, those goals, those affirmations, they're necessary. And so within the next year, I need you to be serious. I'm not asking you to hustle. I'm not asking you to work your ass off. I'm not asking you to just work yourself to the bone and be exhausted. What I'm asking you is to just be focused, consistent and focused. Okay. Because that's what King of Pentacles energy actually is the more I focus, the more aligned I remain. Okay. So that is your reading this week, new moons. All right. Oh, we got a text from Spirit. In this week's text from Spirit, it says to us, oh my gosh, hold on. All of these cards came flying out. 000. Guidance. You have full support of the divine. The guidance you are seeking is here, and your life is moving in the right direction. This is the start of a new beginning, where one cycle ends and a new begins. And your affirmation this week, new moons, is I trust in the magic of new beginnings. I feel the support and guidance that is all around me. Putting out that new moons for aligning with the frequency of the Lua Nova podcast. Remember, if you want to book a personal tarot reading with me, if you want to send in something to donate via Cash App or Venmo, I could not remember the names of what I was about to say, or if you want to join the Patreon, all of that information is right there in the show notes of every single episode. I will talk to you next week, new moons. I am hoping that next week's episode is just back to normal and everything is back up and running, because it is time for me to pack this microphone. And I am guarding it with my life. So thank you, new moons, for hanging in there with me. I hope that you have enjoyed these episodes. I am actually, at the time that you are hearing this, about to record part 2 of Lua Nova Zodiac Island. Now, by the time that you're hearing this, you'll be hearing this one after Zodiac Island. So just know that they were recorded actually back to back, not in the same day, but back to back. And your tarot cards this week, one more time, are the 8 of Cups, the 10 of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles. Okay, so I know that I don't always tell you over and over what the cards were for you this week, but I felt like I needed to for anybody who wanted to keep track of that. I'll talk to you next week, new moons. Have a safe rest of your week. How many times do I say week at the end? I need to change that. No? You don't care? You like it the way it is? Okay, I will. All right, new moons. Ciao.